My head is starting to spin listening to this so many times. If I get through all this and this doesn't sound good, I am never doing a cappella ever again. Hi, hope you're having a great day. Welcome back to Video Breakdown, the show where I reverse engineer a content creator's style and see how hard or how easy the process is. Today we're diving into completely uncharted territory for me and taking a look at Smooth McGroove, also known as Max Gleason. Smooth McGroove makes a cappella covers of video game music, which I personally love because if you couldn't tell already, I'm a video game fan. The Smooth McGroove channel has currently produced over 200 videos and is sitting at over 2.5 million subscribers, which I think is totally rad because it exposes 2.5 million people to a lot of video game music that I know and love. Now, I love music and I especially have a penchant for video game music, but I have never recorded music professionally before. I play a few instruments here and there, but I've never dabbled into that territory, so this is gonna be completely new for me. Not only that, but I've never put together an a cappella arrangement before, I've never sang on camera before, and I've never even sang in front of enough people to know whether or not I'm a good or terrible singer. As is my goal with this series, I'm gonna try and produce some content that Smooth McGroove has not already covered, so I'm thinking I'm gonna do a song from Earthbound, which is one of my wife and I's favorite video games, and Smooth McGroove has only done one Earthbound song, which is a shame because Earthbound has some amazing music. I'm particularly excited to get to my research phase here because it means I get to listen to some truly magnificent video game music, so let's just jump right into it. Now, I'm obviously not playing the audio for you here because I don't want to step on the toes of Smooth McGroove or the composers who made this awesome music. So if you want to hear what Smooth McGroove sounds like, please go check out his channel. You won't be disappointed. The audio aspect is obviously going to be the main challenge here. I'm probably going to have to look up some a cappella how-to videos and figure out how to isolate the different sounds and instruments within the music. But from a video standpoint, it looks pretty doable. It's the same shot for each voice, same shirt, maybe a different hat here or there. We've got the video game content playing in the middle with a little bit of a border. The background is mostly different in each one, so I guess that'll kind of be up to me. And of course, we got a nice microphone and pop filter in the shot, which shouldn't be an issue. I'll see if I can grow my hair and beard this long before I shoot, but if I were you, I wouldn't hold my breath about it. Okay, seems pretty straightforward. Let's break this down. So as we saw with video, it's pretty much gonna be one shot. In fact, I could probably even do it just like this. Is that cheating? But honestly, for these videos, the actual video part is just extra. It's all about the audio. For the music, I'm pretty dead set on doing something from Earthbound, probably either the Summer's theme or the Winter's theme, both of which are some of my all-time favorite video game songs. Either way, Smooth McGroove has only covered the One-et theme from Earthbound, so as long as I get to do a song from Earthbound, I'll be happy. And I'm gonna see if I can find a program that'll isolate the different voices within the track and make it a little bit easier on me to identify each individual instrument. And then after that, it's all gonna come down to the old vocal cords. I may or may not use the mic that I have back there. I didn't use that one for the cocktail chemistry voiceover. I ended up using this. But I don't know if either of those mics is gonna be the perfect thing for something so audio-centric, so I might have to borrow a mic. All right, I'm gonna do some more research off camera, and the next time you see me, I'm gonna be an a cappella master. Okay, so I'm not an a cappella expert. In the end, I decided it would probably be funnier or more entertaining if I just tried to wing it and see what happened. So I'm gonna do a bit of a practice run. I'm gonna listen to the song, see if I can pick out some instruments, sing it a little bit, bring it into an editor, try and put the pieces together and see if it'll work. If it sounds kind of jank, I'll try and find some kind of music separator that I can more accurately hear the different instruments in the song, and we'll give it another shot. I'll leave it up to you whether you want to go and listen to the song by itself before you watch me do this. If you don't, it might sound a little bit weird. Either way, you're probably going to hear it a fair bit through my headphones. So I'm just going to hit play and see what I pick up on. Okay, so there's some wave sounds, some seagulls, sort of like a plucky guitar track and some horns in the background. Bum, bum, ba bum, bum, ba bum, bum, ba bum, and the ba bum, bum, bum in the back. Not sure how to describe this instrument, but it's kind of like an electronic organ type of sound. Ba, 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 ba. You hear some really light drums in the back doing a every once in a while I hear ba-bum, bum, ba-bum. It's a little harder to pick out that trumpet sound. It's not present throughout the entire mix. It kind of fades in when it feels like it. Okay, so the main sounds that I'm hearing are the main electronic organ sound, the ba, ba da ba 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 ba. I'm hearing that occasional trumpet sound, which is a little harder for me to pick out, the ba 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 ba. The light drums in the background, the occasional bass note, the bum ba bum. It sounds like the waves and the seagulls are pretty constant throughout the track. And then what sounds like plucking a string on a guitar, the bum, 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 bum. So the organ, the trumpet, the guitar, the seagulls, the waves, the bass, and the drums. If I'm counting right, that's a total of 7 voices. Now, I'm cognizant of having enough of my face surrounding the game window in the main shot. I think the standard in his videos is to divide the screen into a grid of 9 squares, 3, 3, and 3, with the game footage in the middle. So that would mean that I would need at least 8 voices surrounding the game footage. Since I'm only picking out 7, I'll either have to have one of the boxes me just not singing and doing something silly, or I can split one of the voices up into 2 recordings, each of which doing half of the part and going back and forth. Okay, so now I'm going to try and do a little test segment. I'll do maybe 10 seconds of the main part of the song, starting with the guitar. Bum, 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 bum. Now the electronic organ. Ba, 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 ba. Now I'll see if I can pick out the trumpet in the mix. This might take a few attempts, but it's just a test anyway. Ba, ba, bum, bum. Ba, 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 ba. Okay, the trumpet's pretty few and far between in this one, and when it does come in, it's hard to pin down the melody. Okay, now for the drums. Okay, now I'll try that bass line. Bum, ba bum. Okay, now I'm going to try the waves. This one might be a little trickier. No. Okay, I have no idea how that's going to turn out. Okay, now I'm going to get a little silly and do some seagull sounds. Okay, I think that's everything. I'm going to throw them into the editor and see what I can get out of it. If it doesn't end up working out and the waves are too hard to do, or the seagull just doesn't make sense, or I don't have enough voices to fill the square, I might end up doing the Winter's theme or just another theme from Earthbound. But before we jump ship to another song, we're going to see how this sounds first. Cross your fingers that it works out. We'll see. Now, before we get to that, I decided I don't want to just rip the game footage off of YouTube that's going to play in the center of the screen, and rather just record it myself. So let's go and do that. Bum 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 You know what? I'm not going to go as far as to say that I nailed that, but for a first try test, I'm going to give myself a little bit of a pat on the back. That was pretty good. Okay, I'm not going to give myself a blue ribbon and call it a day just yet. There's a couple of things that I would do differently next time. I'll get to those in a second, but for the summer's theme, I'm going to label that mission accomplished. I could redo it with a couple of tweaks, but I think for the most part, it would come out sounding the same. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take what I learned from doing the summer's theme, and I'm going to apply that to the winter's theme. That's right, you guys are getting 2 a cappella songs for the price of 1. For the most part, I really only have 2 lessons learned. The first one being I had a hard time lining up my recordings of the different instruments, so this time I'm going to take the music track, put a 1, 2, 3, 4 count at the beginning so I can line up all the recordings and make the editing and sync a lot easier on myself. And the second thing is, I think I need to explore different octaves with my voice. For the most part, I think the guitar and organ and horn were all coming out the same. Like if the guitar was ba and the organ was ba and the horn was ba, they mostly sound the same. I think I avoided doing this initially because I was worried that it was going to sound weird on camera, but just gonna have to go for it this time. Ba, ba, ba. I think I'm ready. This time I'm gonna really go for the gusto and try going really low and try going really high. So let's change around our setup and dive into song number 2. What? Oh, new location. Did you see that coming? I think you might have. Now the great thing about this place and the reason why we're shooting here is that not only do we have access to a better mic, we also have a voiceover booth. The sucky thing about shooting here is that there's a rather loud HVAC system and random beeping in the background. Can you hear the beeping? Do you hear the beeps? I hear them. So I know Smooth McGroove doesn't shoot with a voiceover booth, but for the sake of the fact that we have it, we're gonna put it to use. In Smooth McGroove's videos, he just seems to wear a t-shirt and a hat. Got a couple choices of hats here. Rocking my Pizza Planet shirt. I got no lighting set up at the moment. Everything that you're seeing on my face right now is just natural light coming in through the window, but we'll probably get some lights thrown up in a moment and then we'll take a look at the song. And we're back. I've got a light set up and I've got 2 mics going. You're gonna be hearing this mic later during the actual sort of performance part, but while we're just recording and hanging out together, you're gonna hear the lapel mic. It's a bit cramped to get a camera actually in here so you can see my perspective, but it'll take a little bit of phone footage so you can see what I'm looking at here. Got my microphone in front of me, a little light up here that's probably not doing much of anything. Laptop here that I'm gonna be playing back the song, and I got a notebook down here to take some notes. As I mentioned before, I added a nice 4 count to the beginning of the song that'll both help me line up all the tracks and help me get going for the beginning of the take. And I'll say the same thing that I said last time. Go and listen to the song if you haven't heard it already, because if you don't know what it is, the next part's gonna sound a little bit weird. Let's just jump right into it and see if we can pick out some instruments. Okay, first impressions, kind of interesting. It seems to be a loop that lasts just over a minute, about 45 seconds of which has that drum pattern, but in the last third, it goes away. Interesting. That part won't be very hard. There's also obviously some jingle bells that start right at the beginning and go for pretty much the whole track. That's going to be interesting to replicate. It's obviously a bass line in there. I think it's slightly more complicated than the bass line in the Summers theme. There's some kind of wind instrument in there doing what I guess you could describe as a bit of a counter melody. It sounds like it could be a clarinet or in the higher parts, maybe some kind of flute. Not really sure. Ba, 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 ba. Okay, that was actually pretty easy to pick out. I think I've got the clarinet-ish instrument on lock. Now the 2 most obvious ones, it's kind of hard to describe what instrument they're imitating. The only thing that I can think of is they either sound like an organ or like a mouse screaming. That's kind of the main part that goes ba 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 na 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 na. And it seems to be 2 of the same instrument performing slightly different parts. I don't know if the version that I got is stereo, but it seems like one is in this ear and one is in this ear. Could just be in my head though. Haha, get it? In my head? Oh, okay, anyway. Okay, now the last couple of parts are really hard to nail down. There seem to be different instruments and they only happen for short periods of time throughout the song. The first one happens about 10 seconds in. It sounds like some tubular bells going ba 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 ba. Then the second one, around the 45-second mark when the drums drop out, I hear a noise in the background kind of going ba 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 ba. Then right around the minute mark, there's another strange sound that goes ba 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 ba, something like that. So that's 8 distinct tracks that I can pick out. The drums, the jingle bells, the bass, the clarinet, organ number 1, organ number 2, and then the random sounds that happen throughout. Like I said last time, I'm looking for about 8 boxes to fill the screen around the game footage in the center. Since I'm trying to be a lot more thorough this time and do a full loop of the song that's around about a minute, and I think this song is just generally harder than Summers, this is gonna take a lot more practice and a lot more takes to get right. So let's just start with the drums. Probably the easiest, hopefully. Fingers crossed, maybe. Here we go. Drums, take 1. Let me listen to it first and then I'll figure out what the heck I'm doing. I have no idea how to do that little drum roll that happens like. Can't even do it. Okay, looking back on some Smooth McGroove videos, it looks like he does a lot of the drumming sound with the front of his mouth with like a sort of movement. I'm gonna try that. Again. Okay, I think we're ready to try a hopeful final take. Just got to be cognizant that the drums actually drop out partway through. Okay, we're going to cross our fingers and hope that that works for the drums. Next is the bass line. Okay, bass line. Let's hear it. Boom, 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 boom. Man, this is hard. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, from the top. Boom, 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 boom. Bum, 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 bum. That part always gets me. The bum, 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 bum. Every time. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, I actually got it right that time and then completely messed up everything after it. Bum, 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 bum. Oh, almost. Bum. Too early that time. Ba 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 bum 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 bum. Whoop. Okay, I'm starting to get better on the bass line, but still not quite there yet. Okay, that one was nearly perfect, or at least it felt perfect. So I don't know if I'll get a better take than that. I think I'm just going to move on to the Jingle Bells. Okay, how am I going to do this? I might actually, because this is such a complicated sound, I might separate it into two different tracks. One where I'm kind of doing a lower tone, like and one where I'm going and then I'm hoping if I mesh those two together, it'll sound enough like Jingle Bells, and then I can fill up those 8 squares. Wow, that was way harder than I thought it was going to be. First of all, keeping all the breath up for that long, and then also bottom of my chin kind of started to go numb from the keeping my mouth in that specific shape. I think I'm only going to do one take for that one, but I'm going to try and do the other segment of the Jingle Bells. Hopefully it sounds okay. So that was like a ch-ch-ch. Now I'm going to do a ch-ch-ch. Oh man, it is hard to do that continuously. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm so glad I never have to do that again. That was way harder than those fleeping bird sounds. Okay, now I think I'm going to give myself a little bit of a break and do those random sounds that only happen once in a while. Ba, 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 ba. Okay, this one's going to be pretty weird, but you never know. Maybe I can nail it in one take. Let's do it. Ba, 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 ba. Is that the sound I want to go with? What does it sound like? Ba, ba, ba. Ba, ba, ba. Ooh, ooh. Ooh, ooh. Okay, I'm going to call that a solid take. Drums down, Jingle Bells, bass, random sounds. So what's left is the clarinet and the 2 organ tracks, which I think are probably going to be the hardest. Let's start with the clarinet. Okay, couple practice takes to start. Clarinet, let's do it. Boo, 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 boo. Okay, actually the first main chunk while the drums are still in there was pretty easy to get. I guess because I've listened to it so many times and that tune, that melody is pretty prevalent. I was able to pick up on it. But after the drums go away, it's kind of like a free-for-all. That last part is probably going to be the hardest bit of this whole track. Let's try a real full take. Okay, it definitely gets exponentially harder as this clarinet track goes on, to the point where the entire first half is easy as crap, and then the last 5 seconds are 10 times harder. Gonna try a real take with the headphone volume turned a little bit more down. Okay, I'm really close. I think the next take might be the one. Ooh, nailed it, yes! I think that was pretty much perfect. Okay, now all that's left is those screechy frog singing organ sounds. Okay, let's get a bunch of practice in. First, I'm going to take a stab at the track that I'm hearing in the right channel. It's hard to nail down the specific sound that I want to go for here. Oh, it's so hard. Now I'm mixing up the tracks together. It sounds too much like the clarinet. Okay, let's try it again. Okay, let's take it one section at a time. That is the part that's tripping me up. Oh, this sound is so weird. Just gonna keep going until I get it right. Ah, okay, I'm slowly but surely making progress here. Okay. The part with the drums, I'm pretty much getting. I think I'm almost there. The part when the drums go away, I'm still completely lost. Okay, let's take it from the top, see how far I can get. Once more. See, I keep getting caught up in the clarinet again. Okay, I'm starting to feel confident on that one. Let's take it from the top. Okay, I think that take was like 70% of the way there. Still room for improvement. Ooh, okay. I think that was the best one so far. I'm going to be happy with that. I'm going to leave it with that. Now for the final track, the other organ sound. Here we go again. Okay, let's just start small, practice that first part. Oh, this is getting complicated. Oh man, that part's so hard. Oh my gosh. Okay. In all honesty, my head is starting to spin listening to this so many times. If I get through all this and this doesn't sound good, I am never doing a cappella ever again. Just gotta keep at it. Oh, no. Getting closer, getting there. I can't even keep track of all this. Okay, I just have to completely nail down the first half before I move on to the second half. Getting so mad. Okay, I think that is the closest that I've gotten so far. If I went with that one, I think it would maybe be close enough with a handful of mistakes. I'm gonna try it one more time because this is starting to get really frustrating and not fun anymore. Oh my goodness. Okay, I definitely saved the hardest one for last and I paid the price for it because that sucked. Okay, so we did the drums, 2 sets of Jingle Bells, bass, clarinet, 2 sets of organs, and some random sounds. I think it's time to get out of here. I will see you in the edit suite. Okay, that was a little bit stressful, but some time has passed and I'm okay now. We've certainly worked hard for it. Let's see if our efforts paid off. Here is the Smooth McGroove style Winter's theme. And there it is. What did you think? Leave down in the comments below. Personally, I think it's pretty cool. I know I'm not the greatest singer in the world. That was clearly evident. If I was gonna do this again, I would certainly work on some vocal enhancements and seeing if I can mix the audio a little bit nicer, but honestly, I'm still really proud of it. That took a lot of work and I'm happy with the result. So, what did we learn? I learned that I am an okay singer. If you think I'm less than okay, please feel free to roast me in the comments below. I learned that picking out a melody that's buried within multiple tracks is really difficult, especially when they're 16-bit little instruments and they're not as clearly defined as something that's actually recorded like a trumpet or a bass. But I also learned that it really depends on the song. The Summer's theme that I did first, I thought that turned out pretty well and I wasn't even really trying. But the Winter's theme, I had to try really hard and I'm still not 100% happy with it. The main thing I learned about doing a cappella, I suppose, is when you're trying to differentiate different instruments and different tracks, really go for the gusto and go really high, go really low, and try to make them all sound different, even if you feel a little silly in the moment. The dollar amount that I spent was a big fat zero, so at least a cappella videos aren't expensive to make. Of course, I could have spent money on a new microphone, but that would have been a one-time purchase, and I had access to the one that I used anyway, so didn't really see the need. The amount of time that I spent on it, if we're just looking at the Winter's theme specifically, I think I was in that voiceover booth for the better part of an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. And while that's not a huge amount of time, it was a pretty intense hour and a half. The editing was actually the easiest part. I whipped that edit together in maybe 20 minutes, so that was pretty fun. And now we reach the difficulty rating. Honestly, 8 out of 10. I know that's pretty high, but the video aspect wasn't particularly difficult, the audio aspect wasn't particularly difficult, but the actual skill involved in making an a cappella video, wow. I definitely underestimated how hard it would be, especially after recording the Summer's theme, which made me think, hey, this is gonna be a walk in the park. But once I moved on to Winter's, which was a much more difficult theme, it really became clear how much time it takes to pick out those individual tracks, match my voice to them as close as I can, and record one clean track of an entire instrument. Now, the one thing that I could have done was recorded the audio separate and be able to cut it, edit it, so I didn't have to do a full take of each track, and then record the video and not have to worry so much about getting it right, and I could just perform. But that seemed a little bit disingenuous. I really wanted to do it on camera and I want it to be as authentic as possible. But honestly, based on how it turned out, I actually would be interested in doing one of these again. I think it came out really cool. I think I could do an even better job next time, depending on what song I pick. And I just found the whole concept fun. I'd love to do another theme like this, like maybe the Able Sisters theme from Animal Crossing or something else from Earthbound. But that about wraps it up for this episode. Mr. McGroove, if you see this video, I really hope you were entertained, and I'd love to see a behind the scenes video of how you move through this workflow. And all the rest of you, go ahead and leave in the comments what content creator you think I should tackle next. Thank you so very much for watching, and go make somebody smile today. If we look at some of his videos,
watch yoga videos ad-free and practice.
Ooh, nailed it! Yes!
Okay, I think that was pretty much perfect.
We can call that a solid tick.
I don't know if it's got a better track than that.
Okay, all that's left.